Raiders coming off a loss last week to Dublin Scioto by a count of 21-20. In fact, the Raiders went for 2 in that contest, going for the win away from home, and did not come up with it and lost 21-20. Meanwhile, for the Rams, they're coming off a loss last week to Watkins Memorial by a count of 35-28. We talked about the offensive concern for Reynoldsburg. They have scored 56 points this season, and Tom, they scored 26 of them in the first game that we did in week number 1 against Pickerington. So obviously the offensive concern there. For Whitehall, they're just looking for all-around play. They've had a little of this, a little of that, but they've not been able to put it together. Their lone win was over Bexley, giving them at their time their first loss of the season. There's the kick, and Ratliff is dangerous. He picks it up at the 12. Kiwan to the 20, up to the 23, to the 25, and brought down around the 26-yard line. He also has a kickoff return for a touchdown so far this season. So the Rams will take over 1st and 10 from right around their own 26-yard line, just about 5 seconds into this contest. Ratliff is a guy to watch for Whitehall-Yearling High School. He has done a great job as a wideout, 16 catches for just over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. The quarterback that starts things, though, for the Rams is Brian Curry. He's 6'2", 194, and a junior, and actually started 2 games last season. There's Mr. Curry. So far this season, he is 28 out of 63 passing, 489 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And you'll see a lot of no backs tonight from the Rams, a lot of 4 receiver and 5 receiver sets, and they show that right here on first down. And a quick pop is complete. And it goes out across the 30 to around the 31-yard line to Charles Warren.
Well, how about this, Randy? Open it up in a shotgun situation, 5 receivers, 5 quick receivers, and that means that if the quarterback will have time, in this case Brian Curry, have time to throw that football, could be dangerous. The other hand, there's no backs to help, and you'll see on the shotgun, he just drops back, and before the rush gets him, hits a nice little 5-yard out route.
That's one thing the Rams wanted to avoid, Tom, was 2nd and long and 3rd and long, so that's why they wanted to go to 4 or 5 wide receivers. And they're going long this time for Warren down the sidelines and just out of his reach at the 30-yard line. Coverage on the play by number 24, Leslie Opie.
Well, you better not be asleep here if you're in the Raider secondary, because it looks like the game plan for the Rams, there's Coach Gordon, is to send that ball short, send that ball deep, just put it in the air.
Scott Gordon, 35 years of age, turns 36 on December the 28th in his 3rd year running this program. Got the job on June the 19th of 1995. And talk about not having a lot of turnaround time to start the fall of 95 campaign. Scott didn't have it. Trying to turn things around here with the Rams. It'll be 3rd down now and 5 from the 31-yard line. 11-16 left to go here. Again from the shotgun with 4 wideouts, and the quick pop is intercepted.
Yeah, tip.
On the tip, picked up on the play by Matt Lambert down the sidelines inside the 20. Lambert all the way down to around the 14-yard line.
How about that? A very opportunistic Lambert on the tip. He wasn't really the defender in charge, but when that ball was tipped, he had the nose for the football, picked it up, and cut down the sideline, and gives the Raiders excellent field position.
Matt, an outside linebacker, 5'10", 185, and a junior. And again, we talked about the offense of Reynoldsburg.
Yes.
Tom, they're in a situation here where they don't have to do that much, just 15 yards away from getting on the board.
Well, they're already in 4-down territory, you're right.
And they'll be led at quarterback by John Drew. So Drew to lead them at quarterback. Roberts, Brookins in the backfield. And Brookins will have it, take it around the right side, inside the 10-yard line, and down to around the 8.
Well, if that muddle huddle that is causing a lot of teams problems, they came out, Reynoldsburg did an unbalanced line, and Torrey Parham, number 56, the guard, led the play. Nice yardage on 1st down. I don't think Rams had a chance to adjust to the unbalanced formation.
27 yards on that interception return, by the way, by Lambert. So we saw something from Whitehall going with 4 and 5 receivers, and we see the unbalanced line from the Raiders. 2nd down, we'll call it a short 4 with 10:32 left to go. Mark the ball at the 9-yard line. It goes to Roberts off the left side, and he gets down to maybe the 7, and that's about it before he's tripped up on the play. Tackle made by Jeremy Gabriel, the middle linebacker for the Rams.
Right, Gabriel, 225 pounds, made a shoestring tackle, but it looked like, had he not, could have been 6 points on the board.
Some power problems here at Whitehall-Yearling High School, so I'll reset some of the information for you. In the line up front for the Raiders, left tackle is Jason Combs, the left guard J.P. Stearns, the center is Brian Bockert, the right guard Torrey Parham, and the right tackle is Paul Stanko. Wideouts, well, Cornelius McGrady, all he did was take the opening kickoff back for a touchdown in week number 1. The tight end, Jackson Harris. McGrady is wide at the top of the formation. Roberts, the fullback, right up the gut and inside the 5, down to the 1-yard line. And it will be 1st and goal Raiders with 9:45 left to go here in period number 1.
Very large 3rd down play, nothing fancy here. We know what he can do with the football because of the first week.
We saw him in week number 1 go 92 yards on 19 carries. On the season, he's got 44 carries for 179 yards. So first and goal from right at the 1-yard line with 9:34 left to go.
Lance Kirk was in on the hit, the 263-pounder.
Do you keep it? Do you give it to Roberts? Neither. You give it to the guy coming from the left side back around, and do they break the play? That is John Kiss, the wingback, trying to kiss the goal line, and he does not do it.
Oh, John, you want to get that name in the paper. This was another unbalanced set. They really had him outflanked, and if it wasn't for Brian Curry, he must be playing both ways, coming up making that hit just about 6 inches short. Look for Roberts to carry it on this play.
That is a situation at strong safety. You've got Curry and Gales both playing back there for the Rams. Take a look.
Okay, you'll see. Oh, you're right. Well, grab the old head there, I guess. That was Curry keeping him out of the end zone.
So it'll be second down and goal from inside the 1-yard line. 8:48 left to go first quarter. Drew, nothing fancy, keeps and marches in for a touchdown. 8:43 left, and the Raiders go on top by a count of 6-0.
Well, Reynoldsburg showed some offense already. Nothing fancy, a very short drive, but very effective as well. And Drew takes it in from 1 inch.
All set up by the interception returned by Lambert, who brought it back inside the 15-yard line. So now it's extra point time for the Raiders.
Just figured out something, I think, Randy, that we are Reynoldsburg's good luck charms, because when we're here, they're a heck of an offensive team.
They look unbeatable. Clark to attempt the extra point. The snap, the kick is up, and Travis adds on the 7th point, and with 8:43 left to go, it is Reynoldsburg on top by a count of 7-0. Well, if you're Whitehall, you wanted to get off to a good start. That's one of the keys that Scott Gordon talked about. The one thing he can't be happy with is the fact that the visitors already have 7 points, but the pass to Ratliff wasn't that bad that led to the interception a little high. And now, just like that, it is 7-0 thanks to this run inside by Drew.
Well, Drew earned it, and of course, he's a tough kid. He's been playing defense for a long time, and you're right, there was nothing fancy about that quarterback sneak.
So it's 7-0. The Raiders on top. In fact, if you look at Reynoldsburg, one thing that has really hurt them too is the number of injuries. Sean Klipner, who had a good first game that we had against Pickerington, ankle injury against Gahanna on the first play. Mike Evans and Jason Hayes, the 2 guys in the secondary that are stalwarts, both out, both with separated shoulders and a bruised kidney for Jason Hayes. Now Hayes might be back to punt though this week. David Woodring, who was the kicker, injured playing soccer. Scott Tressler missed the last 2 games with an ankle injury.
See, that soccer's a dangerous sport. Moms, listen to that.
Play football instead. Football. That's right.
One thing, the opening kickoff, Reynoldsburg said, hey, we're not afraid of you, Kewan Ratliff. We're going to kick the ball deep. Let's see if it cost him. This time they kick it away from him.
And it'll be scooped up on the play at the 8-yard line by Tyrone Fair. Fair across the 15, trying to turn the right side and brought down right around the 16-yard line.
Yes. Excellent special teams coverage. I mean, it was I think he ran a long way, but he's just running sideline to sideline before Gillespie on the hit. No, it was Chris Smith, wasn't it? Chris Smith, who also stays in and starts at that cornerback spot. We'll hear from him more a little later on. There's the scoring drive.
That's right, a very minute one. 4 plays, 14 yards, minute drive, but big points. See, I've heard of minute bowl, but I've never heard of minute drive until now.
Minute drive.
There's Daniel Johnson, one of the backup running backs, and plays in the secondary, getting limber along the sidelines. 8:36 left to go, 1st and 10. Handoff inside, off the left side, and finding a big hole. Taking it out across the 20 is Gales, and Gales all the way out across the 30 to around the 32-yard line.
Ran like Gale Sayers on that one, and this is a little different look. Now, the first possession, the Rams came out in the shotgun. This time they went to the more of a run-oriented formation and picked up a nice chunk of change.
And after this play, we'll take a look at the offensive starters for the Rams with 8:23 left to go. Gales on the season, 97 carries, 553 yards. Backs again split, 2 of them back there. And off the left-hand side, nothing fancy there. In fact, Ratliff was in the backfield that time with 8:12 left to go. As we look at the offense with Gillespie, Gales, Ratliff, Warren, and Moore. The backs and receivers up front. McNeely, Lyons, Gabriel, Nelson, and yes, he is 6'2" and 371, and Sherrod in the line, and of course the quarterback, Brian Curry, as we said, 489 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Actually, Curry started 2 games last year for the Rams as just a sophomore.
Ratliff at the top of the screen.
2nd and 9. Inside, Rashawn Gales. And we'll check now, Tom, the defense for Reynoldsburg. It'll be Those guys up front, it'll be Stanko, Tressler, Parm. Watch for Lambert and Boder as well to give you a lot. We saw Lambert, what he did with that pick to take it back inside the 15-yard line. In the secondary, that's where you see the changes for the Raiders because of the loss of the corners. Ophi and Smith start, and instead of Evans and Hayes and Freeman and Drew round out the starting 11.
Paul Stanko on the tackle. You're going to hear his name called a great deal tonight. He's a big
shotgun snap is too high. Curry's got to hunt it down. He's inside the 15-yard line looking and trying to throw it, and he throws it up for grabs. Gales is watching the ball the whole way and nearly came up with the ball. Coverage by Chris Smith, and I think Gales was almost there looking like a guy that was trying to field a punt.
Both of them almost had to call for the fair catch had it been a punt because it was up in the air so long. Now, Brian Curry did a great job. He got a good bounce, and realizing it's third down, you're going to have to punt anyway, he just threw it as far and as long and as high as he could. You'll see a little shaky on the snap there, but the good news is it bounces right back to him, gets his shoulders square and just tries to throw it. Of course, he's off balance, and there's the end result. Up, hit the ground.
They had a punt off this week at Whitehall, and the guy that just did the kicking won the honors. That is Ben Schenko, 6'2", 224, and a junior. He gets it across midfield and down to the Raider 44-yard line.
Right. Well, this drive is going to take a little bit longer, or at least it's going to have to go a lot farther than the first one for the Raiders.
24 yards on the punt, no yards returning that one. Roberts, Brookins, Berry, McGrady, and Harris, the backs and receivers. Kiss will also see some time at the wing. Combs, Stearns, Bockert, Parm, and Stanko up front. And Drew, the quarterback in this contest for the Raiders. And, of course, he scored the lone touchdown so far in this game. 6:53 left to go first quarter. 1st and 10 from the 43. And the quick pop goes to McGrady. Actually a lateral on that play, and he's going to be brought down for loss. Guess who it was? Mr. Ratliff.
Yeah, Ratliff showing his quickness there as you see the defensive line.
That's a 40-something that they play because they change it so often. McNeely, Kirk, Gunter, and Miller up front, although Mesmer will see time at defensive end as well. Linebacker Sherrod. Gabriel moves back to a linebacking slot, and Gillespie on the outside playing to the weak side. Ratliff and Warren, two great corners, and Curry and Fair, your guys that are playing at safety for Whitehall in this contest.
I think because that ball went backwards, you were correct, Randy, in saying that that was not a pass, but a lateral.
Second down, we'll call it nearly 14. This time they'll keep it on the ground, give it to Brookins out across the 40, 45. Brookins to around the 47-yard line.
Yes, he was aided by a nice crackback block by Cornelius McGrady, number 80. That's that sweep off the wing formation where you pull both guards, and it's probably their bread and butter play of this offense. You'll see. Here comes the two guards. Nice dip move to the inside and then gets the outside. I remember him from week 1 doing that, Brookins, and picks up about 4.
He had 33 carries for 136 yards coming into this contest. But remember, after losing 4 on the prior play, it's now a third down situation. We'll call it 7 from the 47-yard line. Something went wrong there. You had 3 backs within about 2 yards of each other, and winding up with the football is Roberts. So Roberts on the carry.
Very interesting call on 3rd and long to give it to Roberts, who's definitely a power runner, but he's not known to try to break 7-yard gains.
Couple things. First of all, you can play that field position game. You're already up 7-0 in this first quarter. The other thing, too, when you talk about Reynoldsburg, down through the years, Tom, they have had the dominant tailback. That has yet to develop here this year. You can go back to Bowman and Browning and Edstrom and back all the way to the mid-'80s. Reynoldsburg has had that dominant tailback, and I think that's something they're looking for right now. Punting situation for the Raiders, and guess who's in there?
Right.
It is Hayes, who's feeling a little better, and Ratliff on the return across the 15, the 20, and brought down from behind at the 21-yard line.
One more man. I think Ratliff, playing double duty there on the punt team, came down and saved a big play, but you can see Ratliff has that ability to break the big. I like his high stepping action. He tried to get to the sideline where his blockers were and was just unable to break the last tackle.
And the key stat there is he is just a junior. He will be back, as we said, 16 catches, 303 yards, 4 touchdowns, and scores a touchdown every 4.8 times he touches the ball. So he's touched it, what, 3 times so far in this game?
He's
One
due.
of the next 2 times, right? This time they do have 2 backs to start this possession, and Ratliff in motion from the 21, 1st and 10. It'll be Gales off the right side. Rayshon sees the pursuit there, and guess who makes the hit? It is Drew coming up from the secondary.
Right, good hit, but this Gales kid's showing us something. He did not go down. He also had a nice block at the point of attack by Jim Lyons, the 235-pound junior. So Gales looks to me like a kid that should carry the ball quite a bit. Here he is on the replay. There's the block we talked about. A nice cutback here by Gales. And true, he's hit pretty good, very good. But look, keeps those legs churning and really never did go down.
In fact, last week against Watkins, he carried the ball 32 times, Tom, for 180 yards. Ratliff, hello, nothing there. I'll go back the other way, and there is nothing there either. He's trying to find an opening.
Well, there's still nothing there, huh? Drew again on the, we'll get credit for the tackle probably, but
Torrey Parham did a good job of clogging things up on the inside when he made that move back.
He sure did. That's a well-coached defense. It stays at home and it takes care of their areas, because you never know, reverses or cutbacks like that. You can't over-pursue, and give the Raider defense credit for staying in there at home and reading that cutback.
And that's the thing, too. They said, you know, if Ratliff can score that often, we've got to get him the ball more than you would as just a wideout 4 or 5 times a game and as a kick returner.
Down to the bottom of the screen this time.
On a 3rd down and 10 with 3:59 left to go in the quarter. Now the backs go back to an offset eye. The fake goes to Gales. Curry looking downfield. He's got a man. It's Warren, and he cannot come up with a football at the 39-yard line. And, Tom, that was a long toss. It went about 18 yards upfield, but it went about 35 across the field.
And it looked pretty good to me. Now, a receiver has to remember not to jump for the football unless it's over his head. That was a pretty nice pass. Play action fake. Held the defense for a little bit, and this is throwing across his body. But looky there. Well, it maybe was...
He had it.
Almost a great catch.
Smith on the coverage. And Schenko back into punt. Remember who the up man is for the Rams, too. It is Rashawn Gales. Could be a point later in this contest. There's a kick. It's another liner. It hits across midfield. And Gray will let it roll inside the 35. And it was kicked by the Ram twice. Down to around the 26. I think he got away with one of the kicks because he kicked it at the 31.
That's right. They caught the second one. But, boy, that's going to look good in the stats. It wasn't a very good punt, actually, or didn't have much hang time, but it got the job accomplished. And
8 left to go. You can see the scoring story in this contest. And again, they come out of that muddle huddle, and it is McGrady wide to the bottom of the formation. Off the right side, I tell you what, Tom, there is nothing there for Roberts.
The swarm. It's hard to see there were so many Rams in there. McNeely was one of them, and you're right, not a whole lot for Mr. Bowman.
They talked about Mike McNeely. He had 11 tackles so far for losses this season, as Roberts, you can see on the carry. Also has 3 catches of the year, does Joe, for about 60 yards. 2nd down.
Whoa.
Taken around the right side and stumbling in the backfield, big number 9, that is John Kiss.
Well, I think John wanted to get ready to turn his shoulders upfield, but he tripped over the quarterback's feet, and Reynoldsburg's actually moving backwards this time. It's now 3rd and about 15.
Well, in fact, they did that the last series, too. The only time they moved forward was the 14 yards they had to get the touchdown after the pick by Lambert.
Looks like they're trying to do a little quick huddle here.
3rd and 14. Drew looking, putting it downfield, under pressure. He gets hogtied, and the pass is incomplete.
You're right. There was some pressure being applied.
And actually, that was Adam Washington who was in at quarterback.
Okay, well, Washington did a nice job booting to his left. There was a receiver, the split end on a flag route that was open early, but because of the pressure, you'll see right there, he had to break back to the inside, and that just disrupts the timing of the play. And there's the receiver coming across.
So Hayes in once again to punt. Remember, he was first-team All-State last year with those honors, and not 100% right now, but had a boomer his first attempt. And look at this one. It's high, but not as long. And a fair catch is taken at the 49-yard line by Warren. He goes Parham and John Bowman all around the football. Bowman, a 2-year starter at inside linebacker, 6'2", 205, one of the guys you talked about earlier.
And don't count that Parham out either. He's only 5'9", but he's a tough cookie.
He's a tough little fire plug. 1:52 left to go in the quarter. This time from the shotgun. 3 wideouts to the top, and I think we had motion on the Rams. We do. There's 2 flags, in fact. Ratliff across the 45 down to the 42, but one of the wideouts to the top of the formation for the Rams broke up field early. If this was Canadian football or arena football, he'd be okay.
I like the tackle Ryan Freeman just made in the open field on Kewan Ratliff.
And we
although it wouldn't have mattered. 2
Raiders slow to get up now, Tom. One is Scott Tressler, who is coming back from that injury. Remember, that ankle problem, also slow to get up. Number 72, Paul Stanko.
They need him. He's a heck of an athlete out there. And it looks like Coach Busateri is concerned, and he's working his way to the injured players. Now, when they come out, a timeout would not be charged, of course.
They'll have to come off the field for at least one play with 1:40 left to go here in the quarter.
The Rams had the perfect call. That was a blitz, the Reynoldsburg Raider blitz, and the quick pass to Ratliff was the ideal call. And if it wouldn't have been for first the penalty and second that great tackle, could have gone a long way.
Illegal motion, the call on the Rams. That was not a real definitive signal there. Larry Root is your referee. Your umpire is Mike Burbridge. The linesman is Ray Kurse. The line judge is Ned Harlow. And the back judge is Jim Gowdy. So mark it back 5 from the line of scrimmage of the 49. Back now to the Ram 46-yard line. They need 14 yards. It is second down. 1:29 on the clock. And this is Gales off the right side. Ray Sean, look at him just push forward for 3 more yards.
Well, a 195-pounder with that leg drive and quick acceleration is going to be very difficult to bring down. You know, he's going against an outstanding Raider defense, and he just kept churning on that one.
But that time he got in Parm's way, as in Torrey Parm, who made the hit. The only non-starter, Tom, on defense from last year for the Raiders. The other 10 starters to start the season were also in the same position last year.
Well, we have a 3rd and long, so they may try to get the ball in the arms of Ratliff or one of the other receivers.
Ratliff is wide to the bottom, Warren to the top, back to the offset eye one more time. Curry looking for the quick pop, now rolls back to his left. Looking long downfield, this is Warren inside the 10-yard line, and the defensive back actually makes a better break on the ball. That is Smith, who played that one perfectly, and Chris nearly came up with the football.
Extremely good coverage by Smith, but a pretty good arm, too. I think you'll see on the replay, first of all, number 37 does a nice job blocking for the quarterback, Gales, and there's the pass. Good trajectory, but who's running to the football? Number 2, Chris Smith.
And it's 4th down and 8. Remember, Gales is the up back with 41 seconds left to go. The ball at the Raider 48-yard line, but they will kick it. Schenko gets it off. More height this time, and McGrady will move up and again let it go. Roll inside the 20, inside the 10, all the way down to around the 6-yard line. If you're the Raiders, I think you've got to pinch closer to the football.
You got that right. And the other thing is, each possession, the Raiders have had poorer and poorer field position. I have a proposition here, or prognostication, that they will not have worse field position the next drive.
Okay, we'll see what happens. The ball is at the 6.5-yard line. That punt was 42 yards. That is the 3rd punt by Schenko in this first quarter. No return yardage so far for Reynoldsburg.
He's out punting the All-Stater on stats.
He's had more chances, too.
Yes, that's true. And he's got a lot better rolls.
He's got that leg that's like, I don't know, like the arm that throws a fastball. It's a line drive. 7-0, half a minute left to go. And this is Brookins across the 5, the 10, and up near around the 14-yard line. Hit made on the play for the Rams by Tyrone Fair coming up from the secondary.
Brookins has that gift of making defenders think he's cutting to the inside, and then he's able to get back and around him to the outside. He was very effective against Pickerington, and he's very effective tonight so far.
In fact, mark the ball right at the 15-yard line. It'll be second down in just about 1, and that will do it. 12 minutes in the books here at Whitehall High School. And at the end of the first quarter, thanks to the turnover and the return by Lambert, the touchdown run by Drew, Reynoldsburg on top of Whitehall-Yearling by a count of 7-0. Back with the second quarter here on Coaxial Sports. Coaxial Sports, week number 5 of high school football action. We're on the east side at Whitehall High School, and the Rams trailing the Raiders by a count of 7-0. As we start the second stanza, it'll be second down and 1 after that 9-yard gain by Brookins.
All right, second very short, could be a play-action pass.
They will keep it on the ground and keep it inside. Nothing fancy there, and they'll get the ball up to around the 20-yard line. Roberts on the carry.
Well, remember, they started this drive way back in the 6-yard line. This first down is very important to get him some decent field position. And now you might see him mix in the pass with the run.
So the last time they drove the ball 14 yards, they scored a touchdown. This time it gets them out to their 20-yard line.
Equally important in a sense. And have we seen the Raiders pass a whole lot tonight?
We saw that one attempt on that 3rd down play when Washington got nailed.
I think that's it.
And again, the quarterbacks will alternate in Drew and Washington. It is John Drew in there right now, and oops.
He can do that.
Yep, but he looked a little uncertain. Now you'll get the flag, though.
I think it was the receiver at the bottom.
Right, he wasn't set. He moved. And on the carry, though, coming back around, tipping his cap, so to speak, to let you know what was going on. On the play was number 9 for the Raiders. That is John Kiss, the wingback.
This one could very well be declined. So there was very little, if any, gain on the play. And
yeah, about one. You want 2nd and 9, or you want 1st and 10?
I say decline. Tony's not real happy. Coach Pusateri realizes that that one man was actually not the one at fault, but it was another one.
Here are the numbers after the first 12 minutes. And Tom, rushing yardage, pretty much even. Total yards, you can see the 1 5-yard pass on that first down play for the Rams. The big stat there, the turnover, and that's
right.
why it's 7-0.
Check out the lower right-hand corner. 1 turnover, and it was a costly one.
Coach McDonald called it. They declined the penalty, making a 2nd and 9 situation for the Raiders. Drew brings him up in that muddle huddle under center at the 21-yard line. Harris is the tight end at the top. McGrady, the wide out to the bottom of the formation. It'll be Brookins around the left side. Stanley across the 20, the 25. He's fighting across the 30-yard line and brought down right around the sticks along the far side of the field with 10:56 left to go.
All right, Brookins, nice run. He had the right play called. The Rams were blitzing up the middle, and that play took it a couple holes wider and picked up 9.
Curry coming up from the secondary to make the hit. So, Tom, in this contest, we have both quarterbacks playing both ways.
And I think that could have an effect later on in the game, especially if one quarterback is going to have to start throwing the ball a little more if one team gets behind.
He's just short of the first down along the far side by the sticks, so it's 3rd down and less than 1 from the 29.5-yard line with 10:27 left to go. Roberts has it, and then some. 30, 35, and he bulls his way out to the 37-yard line.
Well, it's a very basic play off the wing tee. It's the fullback with the off the tackle with the guard pulling. The guard in that particular play was Scott Tressler. He didn't find anybody to block. You'll see number 55. Here he comes around the corner. He's supposed to be blocking, or 56 supposed to be blocking someone to the outside. There was no one there.
That's Parm.
Roberts was just on his tail.
You gotta love Torrey Parm, you know?
I do.
Especially with his size or lack thereof. Not a prototypical lineman at 5'9" and 175, but the guy can play both ways in the offensive and defensive lines. 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. Exactly 10 minutes left to go first half. Reynoldsburg up 7-zip. And he's looking long for Ophi along the near sideline. He's got him. Ophi all the way down to the 22-yard line before he's brought down. Great touch pass by John Drew.
Oh, yes, indeed. You can't picture or throw it any better than that. A nice protection, just a quick drop, lay that ball over the outside shoulder, let the receiver run under it, and run under it he did. There's, we saw the drop, and I like the way he has the elbow up, puts that ball right where it's supposed to be, and Ratliff.
He got by Ratliff.
Got a lesson there, right.
40 yards on that pass and run, so mark the ball down officially to the 23-yard line with 9:43 left to go, and Reynoldsburg threatening again.
What a difference a play makes. That was a huge play at this time.
Unbalanced to the top, the tight end is there, and Harris and Brookins going that way across the 22, the 21 spins across the 20 and trying to fight to the 19 and then some.
That's true, and fighting he did, and that's about what made the most of that yards. I haven't seen, of course, Whitehall this year, but they look pretty much improved on defense. You'll see, here's the sweep, fake it to the fullback, and Brookins does a nice job of cutting it right up where he's supposed to. Look, he's not going down.
And Curry is there to hog time again.
Right, but what I was saying, I really think the Rams have improved tremendously on defense. This is a pretty good offensive football team, and they're flying around to the football. The Rams are this year.
Ball at the 19. We'll call it 2nd down and a short 6 with 8:55 left to go in the half. It'll be Roberts off the left side, and Joe gets 2, and that is about it. Pulling him from behind and just ripping him to the turf was Lance Kirk.
All right, well, you've got some options here now. If you're the Raiders, you could be considering yourselves in 4-down territory. It's 3rd and 5 or 6. Last time they had a 3rd and long, they gave the ball to the fullback in a similar play like that. I think this time they'll probably try to either put it in the air or take it a step wider on that sweep with Brookins.
I was going to say, Brookins has been very effective. If he sweeps it to the bottom of your screen, they have not stopped that play yet in this first half. And the unbalanced line goes that way, in fact, to the bottom of your screen. They're going to hand it off to Brookins. Nice inside ball. On the counter, inside the 10, and all the way down to the 7-yard line, and 1st and goal for Reynoldsburg.
Ratliff on the touchdown saving tackle. You're right, you have to be aware of where Brookins is. He is a spark and a half, and on that play, little misdirection with the counter coming back against the grain, opened up very nicely. Super call by the offensive staff of the Raiders. And like I said, there's Ratliff saving a touchdown.
And I forgot another great little tailback they had last year. Remember little Brian Holyfield, and he was little.
Is a very good player.
1st and goal, just past the 7, closer to the 8-yard line. This is Bowman in the backfield now. It's always great to see big number 87 lumbering with the ball there. Anytime you can see a different kind of number like that, or when you see a quarterback wearing like 28 or 29.
You're right, but he didn't get a whole lot of room to run. Mike McNeely was there, and I'm just glancing at the roster again of the Rams. They only have about 5 seniors. There's Brookins. Look at that average. Not
the Rams actually have 4 seniors. They were the only 4 freshmen, sophomore, junior, and seniors. They've stayed together. It's a small senior class for Whitehall-Yearling.
Well, there's some great kids. You're right, but boy, when you only have 4 of them, you have your work cut out for you.
Bowman, again, inside the 10, must be Mr. Short Yardage, although they've got guys like Roberts and Lambert who can also run at the fullback slot.
That's right, and Kirk was in there to try to disrupt the play. Roberts is a tough runner, but I think he's better when his shoulders are going north and south, and of course on that particular play, he's got to move laterally before he can turn upfield.
It's 3rd down and goal now.
We want to get him into his name in the record books here. I know a touchdown here would be huge. Where their defense has been playing tonight.
6:40 left to go first half, and that 3rd and goal situation is from the 4-yard line. McCready is wide to the bottom. Do they look that way? Do they keep it on the ground? Drew is looking underneath.
Yes.
For guess who? Mr. Bowman. He touches the ball for the 3rd straight play, and he takes it in
flag
for a touchdown with 6:27 left to go. It is now 13-0.
No flag. You're right, this is play action. Nice call. They had been running Roberts with the football up the middle. So what do? They fake it to Roberts, and the fullback usually blocks for him, slides out into the flat. Perfect touch on the football and 6 points.
So Bowman makes it 13-0, and now the attempt for the 14th point by Travis Clark. I think you're right about what you said about Reynoldsburg. When they're on TV, they're a juggernaut.
That's right, they might be wanting us to do all their games.
By the same token, I think Scott Gordon is saying, why do you guys come over here when we don't play well?
Shh, don't tell them. Oh, wait a minute. Now, I've seen this Ram right in front of us erupt.
That's right.
Time to time with the old nose coming out, or smoke coming out of the old nose.
That's where we are sitting, right behind that, high atop the press box here at Whitehall-Yearling High School. As we look at the pass one more time to Bowman for the 6.
There's the play action fake on the inside, and Bowman's able to sneak out to the outside. The rest is history.
McGrady did a good job of keeping Ratliff honest on that play, and there is a monster drive after going only 14 yards. This time they go 94 yards in 13 plays, and Bowman catching the 4-yard touchdown pass, and the PAT added by Clark, and it's now 2 converted touchdowns for the Raiders and nothing for Whitehall. If you're the Rams, I'd like to ask you the question always,
sure,
do you change anything? But in this situation, you know they can do everything from the 2 backs to the 5 wideouts, so I guess the answer there is no.
You're right. I wouldn't think that the offense would need to be adjusted a whole lot. And that's one good thing when you have an offense like the Rams do, that you're always in a game. I mean, you don't have to try to adjust to try to bring out the passing game when it's too late. These guys work every day very hard on the passing game, and it's really their forte. So I look for them to just try to stay on track and maybe pick up a big play here.
Jason Combs with a booming kick, and Ratliff has it from his 7-yard line. Kiwan across the 15 to the 20, and hit by 3 players and brought down at the 21-yard line and driven back to the 20. And guess who's one of the first guys there?
Probably the guy who just scored.
Yep, Bowman, big number 87.
And yeah, I think the Raiders staff challenged that kickoff team and said, hey, we're not going to let Ratliff beat you. We have a lot of confidence in you. We're going to kick it deep, and let's see what you can do. And look at the alert hustle. That's the first pop. Wasn't that 27?
That was indeed.
Turner. And then Bowman gets the finishing touches.
So mark the ball officially. They're going to give him forward progress out to the 22. So first and 10 from there with 6:21 left to go in a half. Now 14-0. Reynoldsburg on top as Tyrone Fair is now wide to the bottom of the formation for the Rams.
This is an unbalanced formation. No, now they're going to be unbalanced. Look for him to run this way.
It's Warren in motion. Curry to Gales. Ray Shaw fighting just to get it up to the 23, maybe to the 24-yard line.
He who is loweth wins.
Yethelvether. Ryan Boder among the first Raiders to get there to make the hit.
Yes.
Plays Kiwan
very well. Kiwan's getting a little breather. I have a feeling had come 3rd down time though. We'll see number 5 right back on the field.
Well, he has to. He plays offense, defense, and special teams.
You're right. Returns kickoffs.
And punts.
And punts.
2nd down. They're going to say he got past the 22 to around the 23, and that's about it. So it's nearly 10 with 5:40 left to go. And they try to keep
Hello.
the Raider defense honest by running the fullback inside on a short game.
And Scott Tressler said, hello, here I am, and met Gillespie right at the line of scrimmage. Who's in there on third down?
Oh, could it be your man, Mr. Radliff? Gillespie, by the way, is 5'9", 177, and a junior. And again, not a big guy. In fact, think about the guys they've had in the past at fullback. Remember, Lilly was pretty effective in the past for Whitehall, and he was just a little guy, too.
Oh, he was.
And check this out. 1, 2, 3 wideouts to the top, 2 to the bottom. Nobody back there to block for Curry with 5 minutes left to go. Third down and nearly 7.5 yards. Looking for Ratliff, and the pass is overthrown. Getting a paw on the football was Chris Smith.
Well, I think one of Reynoldsburg's main adjustments against this shotgun is to blitz that linebacker. The man who scored the touchdown, Mr. Bowman, tried to disrupt or force a quick pass. You'll see 5 men coming right after the QB on this one. And Curry has to get rid of it quick. And everybody in places expecting Ratliff to be the intended receiver. What you might have to mix in if you're the Rams is a screen or a draw.
Punting time again for Ben Schenko.
Quarterback draw, but I think the screen over the middle would be the best. Nice punt. Boom.
Will hit it across the 48 and exit right around the 49-yard line in Whitehall territory with 4:48 left to go in the first half. So the Raiders get it back on the Whitehall side of the 50, already up 14-0.
No return yardage, but you're right, 14-0 and plenty of time, a little less than 5 minutes, half the field to go.
25 yards on the punt, and it's up to you to come up with the ball. Come on, get off that lazy boy and catch it.
That's a Rawlings.
Ouch.
Yeah, good hustle, Marty Beaver.
One of the backup defensive backs for the Rams, who also plays on special teams. 1st and 10 from the 49-yard line. This time it is Washington's turn to run things. I feel like I'm talking about the Ohio State quarterbacks here.
Oh, we're going deep.
Washington looking long. Flag is down.
Nice.
He's got McGrady, and he lost the handle and got it back inside the 10, inside the 5, down to the 3. But I think we're coming back. There's a flag resting at the 44-yard line.
You got to stay with the football. Boy, he better catch that one, right? Or there's no going back.
I want to count again how many times he patted that puppy. I think it was at least 3.
A lot of guys are going to be doing the old 40 yards. Let's head back as this one's taken back. Still a beautiful pass play.
All right, everybody, count. It's Sesame Street time. Watch the number of times he bats this.
That's right, Washington. Nice delivery to the outside. 2,
3.
Are you allowed to tip it twice in a row? Isn't that the rules? You have to.
Well, if it's volleyball, 4 hits, and it's a side out, it goes to the other side.
See what happens? They're bringing it back. You cannot do that.
And in fact, they are going on the other side with the 5-yard penalty. It is a procedural call against the Raiders, so mark it back 5.
You have to love the call, though. I mean, up 2 touchdowns, getting the ball, excellent field position. Let's try to get greedy and put another one on the board the easy way.
And both quarterbacks have shown the propensity to throw both the long and the short ball very accurately so far in Washington and Drew.
True.
1st and 15 for Washington and company. That is McGrady, the guy that just was batting it around wide of the top of formation. On the counter play inside Brookins midfield, 45. Look out, Stanley down to the 40. 35-yard line, 30, and falls forward to the 29-yard line.
Aha, back to the play that was effective on their second touchdown drive. The old counter to Brookins, number 6. You had to be watching him. Quick feet, too. Here you'll see there's Stanko with a great block, opening up the hole, and Brookins cuts back against the grain, and here is really doesn't make the tackle, but he holds him up long enough to get his buddies a chance to get over there and make the pop, and it looks to me like it was Gillespie on the head.
From the outside linebacking slot, does the honors.
Do we have a timeout, Randy?
Yep, it's burned by Whitehall. That's the first. They have 2 remaining, and Brookins now, look at those numbers. He could get close to 100 before the end of this half.
That's right, and really, it's been a couple big plays, but he's shown that quickness. You know, those quick feet that you like to see in a running back. He's not a big kid, but you give him a seam, and look out.
And it goes back to what I talked about before. When Reynoldsburg is successful, it seems like it's because they have a dominant tailback, a guy that can not necessarily carry the ball 30 or 40 times, as they always did in the Bob Stewart era, but a guy that can carry the ball and come up with 100 to 150 yards a contest. So far, Brookins had that in the first 4 games. He might equal what he had on the season in this contest tonight.
Right, I think it's something that Reynoldsburg has been blessed with outstanding backs throughout the years, and year's no exception.
I remember Aaron Browning carrying the ball once 42 times in a contest.
He slept good that night.
And the next day.
Yeah, that's right.
1st and 10 from the 29.
Yeah.
4:31 left to go. It is already 14-0. The Berg on top. Washington at quarterback. McGrady to the bottom. Harris to the top is the tight end. A wing to the top of the formation as well. Washington looking. He's got a man wide open downfield inside the 10. He's got the ball to him all the way down to the 2-yard line. Nobody picked up Andy Berry, the wingback.
And no flags either. All right, Andy Berry. I like to see wingbacks get a chance to catch the ball because usually they're blocking down on the sweeps. He's at the top of the screen, and there he is on the flag route heading for the corner of the end zone. Good concentration. The ball is put perfectly on his shoulder pad.
Andy Berry was put in an interesting situation in game number 1 because remember when they played Pickerington, his dad, I think, is the assistant principal at one of the schools in the Pickerington school system. So the family was torn in week number 1. Here they're rooting for the Raiders. 1st and goal inside the 2, and on the keeper they will march it in. This time Washington gets the touchdown. So now with 4 minutes left to go and a half, each one of the Reynoldsburg quarterbacks has a touchdown. It's now 20-0.
Yes, and that's a very damaging series if you're a Ram fan, because 14-0 is not too difficult to overcome. But when you're down 3 touchdowns and your offense has been sputtering, you know, it's going to make things all that more difficult. All the momentum's on the side of the Raiders.
Clark to attempt the 21st point. Drew is the holder. Tack one more on it. Is now 21-0. And the nice thing about that Raider drive, Tom, was the mix of the pass and the run.
That's true, and that's what you're looking for in high school football. Any balance, so keep the defense off balance, so to speak. And really, with this new kind of Raiders hadn't passed the football very often until this lately, and you'll see on the replay of the touchdown. Hey, when you have a big gap on the goal line like that, why not take advantage of it?
And really, when you look at their scores, they're kind of ho-hum. The 2 sneaks by the quarterback, and the rollout to Bowman for another one. In fact, the most exciting play was a play that didn't count, was the triple tip by McGrady. But the bottom line is the Raiders are now up 21-0. And for Whitehall, you say this, I guess what, Tom, you're down to 2 timeouts, but you still have 2 quarters and a quarter of another one left to go.
And this is a huge drive for the Rams. If they can put something back on the board, counter that last touchdown, then they're right back in the thick of things. And I'm sure that's what they're going to try to do.
Ratliff is standing back at his 5-yard line as Combs has it teed up at the 40. Reminder, coming up at the break, we'll take a look at both high school marching bands, the Reynoldsburg High School Marching Band and a band from Whitehall, led by Jeff Harriman, and of course the Reynoldsburg band led by Brian Stevens. Ratliff takes the liner back at his own 3-yard line. Up to the 10, Kiwan to the 15, makes 1 guy miss across the 20, but he can't make 4 guys miss as he's brought down at around the 22-yard line.
Kiss is in there. We saw his name. I don't know if anybody was blocking. I mean, you had a great kid like that. You got to give him a little time. There was a man down there when Ratliff was only at the 15-yard line. Nice sidestep, jitterbug move, another nice move. But I believe it was number 6, and on the hit, Brookins.
Yeah, Hunter was the guy you were talking about that nearly got there about the time the ball got there. Take a look at the yardage breakdown so far in this contest, and what was close at the end of 1 quarter, I think just a couple yards difference, is now over 5-1 in favor of Reynoldsburg. So 1st down, and we'll call it 77. If you're a Ram fan, with 3:53 left to go, you've got to score. Gales turning the corner, gets to the line of scrimmage, maybe, and that is it.
Well, there's a veteran defense. You can see 10 starters returning, all flying to the football, and they're making Gales earn every yard he gets.
Tell you what, Parm has been in there on just about every hit. We've talked about his size not being that huge for a lineman. Although I go back to the guys that you coached at Groveport Madison. You were successful at times when you had guys not that big, and in your offensive line you had a tiny little guy who I believe his last name was Large, was it not?
145-pound Ronnie Large, but you're right. His heart was 144 pounds of it, and it's true that you can't judge just by the old scales.
From the shotgun, the quick pop to Ratliff on the low throw out across the 25. At that time, Tom, he had to work a lot for maybe 4 or 5 yards.
He really did, but let's give him credit, a coaching point here for you young athletes. He didn't go down on his knee on that low pass. Had he done that, he would have been down right away, but he bent down, was able to scoop it up off the ground without touching his knee to the ground, and then was able to make something out of it. Like he puts the ball in the outside arm. But believe me, the Raiders are aware of where number 5 is.
And in fact, the other thing he didn't do too was look upfield. Sometimes you have the tendency in the open field to want to take a glance, and he just concentrated on the ball. They picked up half the yardage. They need another 5 again from the shotgun with 3:07 left to go in the half, down 21-zip. Curry rolling. The top of your screen, out across the 30. He's not going to do it. He is brought down about 3 yards short of the first down.
Need to know that down and distance. It was 3rd and 5, and the shotgun. The Raiders were in a blitz. They actually sent their middle linebacker on the right side, John Kramer, on 41. He was picked up pretty good. And you'll see that Curry decides to run with the football, and Lambert says, you're not going to get very far on me.
And Parm also helping on the stop. So Schenko to punt one more time, standing back at his own 15-yard line. High
and slow
floating snap, but he gets it down just in time, and the kick will hit across midfield. McGrady decides to scoop it up at his own 46 and becomes a Ram sandwich at the 47.
He said, I didn't get the count. I didn't even bobble that one 2 or 3 times. I picked that one right up, Coach. And I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't blame him one bit, if the Raiders try to get another one here.
Well, McGrady, I think, coming into this contest, Tom, had 3 catches on the season, but 2 were for touchdowns.
Yeah, and then, of course, he's an excellent return man as well.
He did a great job of starting off our 97 season with a little electricity, taking the kickoff from Pickerington back 90 yards for a touchdown.
You don't see that too often.
Opie rejoins that muddle huddle, and now they break out of it. And if I flip my coin, I think it's Drew's turn at quarterback. We'll see who's got it this time, running the controls.
This is a run and shoot type offense.
It is John Drew. And he's looking downfield, and he's popping and completing the ball to McGrady, who's across the 40. And has enough for the first down with 2:16 left to go first half.
A lot of offense in the Raiders playbook. This time, you'll see Drew gets his shoulder square to the target, delivers the ball on the out route. Now, that was picked up a nice bit of yardage, but it could have also stopped the clock. I don't know if he got out of bounds, but, you know, that's one of these nice calls when you're moving in without a whole lot of time left. Throw that out route.
He did get out of bounds. Also, they still have their full complement of 3 timeouts as well. Opie to the bottom and McGrady to the top.
Same formation. Look for him to try that same play to this side.
Wing back in motion.
No, we'll have plenty of time. You want to make sure you get this next first down, but it really didn't fool the Rams too much.
That's right, with 3 timeouts left and exactly 2 minutes left to go in the first half. That's an eternity for the Raiders, already up by a count of 21-0. Second down, we'll call it 6 from the 36. Brookins in motion to the top of your screen. Drew looking downfield to the short side, and he's got his man.
Yes.
And guess who? McGrady.
I say they've worked on that pattern 2 or 3 times. And this time, I think you may see a timeout. Or did he get out of bounds? He would have, but it was a low pass, so let's just check it on this great replay. I like the way he squares his shoulders to the target, delivers on the money, and it looks to me like he's made
nope,
the
he's not out of bounds. The clock moves, 1:33 and ticking, but still they have their full complement of 3 timeouts. And McGrady now wide at the top again. You see his numbers so far.
Yep, he knew it was coming.
Yep, the counter inside. Look at this. He makes it look easy. Brookins inside the 10, down to the 9-yard line, and a flag. It looks like at the end of the play.
It might have been a face mask to tack on half the distance. I'm not sure. But you have to think, if you're the Rams, that they're going to come back with that play unless they're going to throw the ball. Those are your 2 basic decisions to make here. Let's see what the call is.
20 yards on that run by Brookins with 1:19 left to go. Dead ball. Personal foul on Reynoldsburg. But it's actually on Whitehall. He signaled the wrong way. Either that or somebody's confused. And it's not us.
Yeah, purple and black. You can get them mixed up.
Come on, get it right. Thank you.
There we have it.
Be a little more demonstrative with those signals.
Yes.
Don't be shy. You're on TV tonight.
He didn't face mask his own man.
There we go. The 4th time is the charm.
Yay.
First and goal from inside the 5-yard line.
Take 4.
Mark it officially.
Remember, the sneak went for the last couple touchdowns.
At the 5, and they'll try to turn the right-hand side, and Brookins motors towards the goal line. Did he break the play?
No way. But he's very close.
And if you're the Raiders, you don't care because you can take your time, get up there, and milk as much of this clock as you can. You're down to 1 minute left to go. And look at this, Brookins not coming up too healthy.
Sherrod on the tackle. Let's see on the replay. Brookins breaks the tackle. But other one is Sherrod.
Sherrod. Here you see the numbers on Brookins. Sherrod. They keep it inside, nothing fancy. And again, for the third time, they scored this non-dramatic touchdown, but it adds 6 more points. It's now 27-0.
All right, Randy, if you're the defense of the team Reynoldsburg plays next week, what the heck are you going to expect when they're down there on the 1 or 2 yard line?
You got to watch for everything. They show you the fact that Bowman can come in there and run the ball and take it out. You've got Brookins inside. You've got the quarterback sneak.
That's
been
the
good
one.
For 3 touchdowns in this contest.
That's the one you're going to be looking for.
By the same token, the Whitehall has given that to Reynoldsburg, so why show anything else from the 1 yard line?
Good point. In that 4-4 defense, you're going to have to either bring those tackles down inside the guards or blitz those 2 middle linebackers.
And there's the kick. It is up. And it hits the crossbar, actually the upright, and bounces through. So everything going right for the Raiders. It's now 28-0.
Yes, indeed.
With 37 seconds left to go. Yeah, the contingent that made the long trek over about 6 minutes from Reynoldsburg has to be pleased. Drew taking it in from a yard out, and a PAT added by Clark, and that's where we stand at 28-0.
Okay, guys.
Scott Gordon telling his squad right now that it is gut check time, I think. See what you're made out of, see what kind of pride you have, and remember, yes, Reynoldsburg has won the first half, but you have 2 quarters left. And if you have that explosive offense that we have not seen in the first half, but that potential in the second half, stranger things have happened.
Hey, I remember less than a week ago, another team was up 28 points and ended up squeaking a 28-20 victory.
I think we were there, that's right.
Yes, we were.
You know, bizarre, I was a spotter for the Arizona Radio Network that day, and Brian Jeffries was the play-by-play man, and Les Josephson does the color, the former Ram for the Arizona Radio Network. They don't talk to each other. For 4.5 hours, they'll talk on the air. Brian never asked a direct question of Les, and off the air, they didn't say a word. It was kind of a interesting, stiff situation.
Yeah, that would be.
Where you and I go out all the time.
That's right, the libraries.
Food.
Yeah, we
study late together. Steve drives us all over the place.
There you go, Steve.
And they'll keep this one on the ground. It goes by 2 Rams.
Oops, at least 2.
And finally, Warren will fall on it back around the 13-yard line. Left to go, and that's where the Rams will get it, needing 87 yards to break the play. Talked to Scott Gordon, and he said one of the guys that always impressed him with the way he ran an offense was his coach that used to be at Groveport Madison High School in the 80s, some guy by the name of Tom McDonald.
Oh, Scott said that. Well, you have to be a little bit unpredictable, and I think he's in a situation here with only 4 seniors that, you know, you're going to have to try to show a little misdirection.
Unpredictable is a nice term for you. I was going to go with flaky, maybe. But
flaky.
No. First and 10 from the 13. 35 seconds left to go. Forget about him taking me out to the library again.
Yeah, forget that, buddy.
Ratliff in motion. Raiders showing blitz. Will they come? Yes, they do with everybody. And Ratliff, can he break 1 or 2 defenders here and go about 30 yards? Nope, not this time. He's out to around the 14-yard line. 28 seconds left to go.
Well, there's such lousy field position on the kickoff. I'm not so sure that this is a great thing to try to be throwing the ball down around your own end zone here.
I didn't know if Scott Gordon wanted a timeout or not. It doesn't look like he's going to burn one.
I think he feels the same way now. I think let's just regroup and come back strong.
Do you heave one, though, for Ratliff or Warren in this situation?
Why not?
See if they get off the play. 2-1. They will not do it. That's the end of the first half.
Hey, why?
That'll do it. 2 quarters in the books. It has been all Reynoldsburg. 3 quarterback sneaks, and at the break, Raiders on top of the Rams, 28-0. Back with our halftime show here on Coaxial Sports right after this. Stay tuned.
Crazier things have happened, and remember, on the first possession of the game, the Rams received the ball, but a turnover took place, and Reynoldsburg got great field position.
Of the 5 receptions, Tom, in this contest for the Raiders, 4 different receivers got those. Grady, the only guy with more than 1, he's got 2 catches for 21 yards. On the return, the Raiders out across the 20, the 25, the 30, across the 35, and McGrady all the way up to the 40-yard line. We know what he can do.
Yeah, no surprise there. No surprise at all.
Average start of a drive for the Rams, their own 24, and for the Raiders from their own 44. Take a look at the return by McGrady one more time.
First of all, he scoops it up going forward. It's a very good point. He's already has his momentum going. And there he is, tight roping down the sidelines, and he's finally wrapped up by Hudson.
So 1st and 10 now for the Raiders from their own 40-yard line. Already up by 4 touchdowns. And Drew gets the honors on this series at quarterback, and Brookins gets the handoff, and he'll pick up 2, maybe 3 on the play before he's knocked to the turf. Eric Gary making the hit for the Rams.
Right, and I'm sure the Raiders would like to start right off, or right in where they left off. And let's just see on the replay. It's a sweep. Guards pulling, designed to cut back to the inside. And Gary does a nice job of closing the play down, limiting to 3-yard gain.
Gary coming up from a linebacking slot to play at defensive end now. 2nd down, and we'll call it just about 7. They picked up 3 on that 1st down play. And taking around the right side is the wingback on the carry. That time, number 9, John Kiss, and he will lose yardage.
Right, I think that play's designed to go a little bit to the inside, and Kiss thought he saw an opening, and he saw a big guy that didn't think could run too fast, but Mike McNeely proved otherwise. 255-pounder worked flat down the line and tackled the ball carrier for about a 7-yard loss. You'll see on the replay, there's no tight end to block down this time, but oh, nice job by McNeely, and he is only a junior, as are most of them.
As we said, Mike has 11 tackles for loss, and with this contest factored in, he's now got 13 tackles for loss in the season. 3rd down and a bunch, nearly 14 yards. And the handoff goes inside and taken out across the 40. Midfield still on the carry. That is Kiss across the 40 down to around the 35-yard line with 10:32 left to go. And just when the Rams looked like they had a chance to hold the Raiders and get the ball back to start the 2nd half, boom, a big play just like that. Indeed,
and it's not one that should be unheard of as far as Rams are concerned. They've run this play a lot with Brookins. It's just a little counter trap coming back against the grain, and this Kiss guy knows what to do with it, as did Brookins, and they don't miss a beat.
Somehow I don't like the term "this Kiss guy." 1st and 10 from the 36.5-yard line. 10:32 left to go. Berg already up by a count of 28-0. And the handoff goes to Roberts, plowing, fighting, and pulling his way all the way down to the 25-yard line.
Oh, so once we give you a little jitterbug action, we're going to come back with the main horse, Mr. Roberts, and he moves the sticks.
You're talking about the Reynoldsburg scores. Let's recap those. They beat Pickerington on Coaxial Sports 26-11. Then they lost to Gahanna 15-3. No shame there. The Lions are 4-0 as we speak. Newark beat them 10-7 with a field goal with 5 seconds left. And then last week, Dublin-Scioto was victorious 21-20 when they went for 2 at the end of that contest to the Raiders and could not convert. The numbers on Roberts rushing so far for the Raiders.
But when all the backs are doing so well, I think you might have a tendency to, I hope you don't have a tendency to overlook those great offensive linemen, Randy. And since I don't have a copy, I'm going to peek over and look at yours. We have Stearns and Combs and Backert, Parm, of course, and Stanko.
Very good.
They're doing an outstanding job up front, and as the game has worn on, they have not worn out.
So 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line, as Gabriel had to check out of this contest. You have something attended to, either equipment or a problem with his arm. With 10:10 left to go, 3rd quarter. Handoff inside, and right now it is just smash mouth inside for Reynoldsburg. They will pick up nearly 10 on the play with Roberts on the carry one more time.
You're right, and the Rams have several two-way players, and the Raiders don't. As you see, they're already putting in some subs. It's a great idea. There it is, right up the middle, nothing fancy. Give it to the big man. Gillespie's doing a nice job, as he has all night, of coming up making some tackles, but he's when you play his position, you're not supposed to be making a lot of tackles.
A gain of 9 on the play, 2nd and 1 from the 16. McGrady is wide at the bottom of the formation. The handoff goes inside to Roberts again. Joe with the big hole, 10. The 5 fights and goes all the way across the lane for a touchdown. And now with 9:29 left to go, you can start to laugh if you're a Raider fan. It is now 34-0.
Well, you also can smile if you're a Roberts fan, because he does the blunt of the blocking from a halfback or fullback spot, and this time he got the ball not real close to the goal line, but he was not to be denied and dove in the last 3 yards in the air.
16 yards for Roberts on that touchdown run. It's now 34-0 as Clark waits to add the 35th point. There's the snap. The kick is up, and he has been perfect in this contest. 35-0. Raiders on top. Still a lifetime left with 9:29 on the clock here in quarter number 3. Talked about injuries. I want to touch on one for Whitehall, along with the situation with Kewan Ratliff. As you look at the scoring drive, 6s were big there. 6 plays, 61 yards, and a 16-yard run. for Joe Roberts. But Jabbar Brooks is another guy that's out with an injury. As you look at this touchdown run one more time by Joe Roberts.
Quarterback just reverses out as an isolation play designed to go over left guard, and Roberts cuts back against the grain, stiff arms a man at the 5, and look at there, I'm getting my name in the paper tomorrow.
That's a woofer. 6'2", 220 pounds, and the senior carries it across the goal line for yet another touchdown. And you're looking along the sidelines at the Raiders. Is that Mr. Ratliff, who's enjoying a drink right now?
I believe it is.
There's Kiwan. His evening is over, and he does not like what he sees early in the second half. But I was talking about Jabbar Brooks for the Rams about an injury. First game, fourth play against Thomas Worthington. Torn ACL, done for the season. In the first 4 plays, Tom, on defense, he had 3 solo tackles, and he was a starting fullback.
Oh, that is very difficult to overcome, a kid you're counting on. And he's a junior, though, and 204 pounds. He'll be back.
Comes with a kick, so now with Ratliff out, Gales is back deep. He scoops it at the 7. Rayshawn across the 10, the 15, finds an opening, 20, 25, Gales 30, across the 35-yard line.
Spark, a little spark in excellent field position, and the Rams haven't had the ball this half, so let's see if they made some offensive adjustments and can challenge this Raider defense. There it is, bouncing around. You never know how it's going to bounce. Good job of picking up the football. Right there, he finds the seam, and he's done a pretty nice job of that. He's a heck of a ball carrier.
And again, you talk about sometimes on a kickoff, if the ball either bounces or is fumbled, sometimes it gives your men up front a chance to establish their blocks. It happened that time, and Gales found the seam and got it up to the 35. 9:22, third quarter, 1st and 10 from there. Gales lost the handle, and the Raiders have it just like that. Scooped up by Lambert. That's his second turnover he's come up with. He, remember earlier, intercepted a pass and took it back to the 14-yard line, and now he comes up with a fumble.
I think Curry, the quarterback's a little bit bumped up, and I don't know if he really gets the exchange from the center and the quarterback. Yeah, look, and that's not the ball carrier's fault.
Placed it too high on the pads.
A little bit high, and alertly, as usual, Mr. Lambert covers that ball up nicely.
Already up 35-0. The Raiders get it back with 9:19 left to go, third quarter.
I see Curry, who was playing defense, is out of there now. It looks like he's been replaced with Marty Beaver.
Do I count 10? I did count 10.
At least, yes.
They get number 11.
Stanko. Come on, Stanko.
Washington now the quarterback for the Raiders as they go back and forth. It's his series and the handoff. Big opening, 35-30, a flag down, and still on his feet and twirling all the way. Andy Berry, the wingback, down to around the 10-yard line, but there's a flag back at the 36-yard line.
Right, I think this one's coming back with motion, but they haven't called Berry's number too often, and he made a very nice critical catch on that third touchdown drive in the first half, and now he runs the ball effectively here for naught.
Motion is the call against Reynoldsburg.
But he's another weapon that the Raiders have. And you'll see, pretty darn quick feet there. Look at him, he feels that defense approaching him, so he covers up the football, runs through that tackle with a nice spin, and is almost in the end zone.
Tell you what, as a youngster, when he played freshman ball, he rushed for 130 yards against Dublin Scioto, so you knew this kid had talent. Right now, Andy Berry on the varsity and seeing a lot of playing time as just a junior.
And a good blocker as well. That wingback has to be a good blocker in the wing T formation.
1st and 15 now from the 40. 9:12 left to go. Reynoldsburg with the ball and on top by a count of 35-0. Handoff goes to Roberts. He's not giving up. And he gets down to around the 37-yard line.
Yes, just a straight ahead trap play. I think they were going to pass or go wide. They tried to cross him up with a quick trap to the fullback, and it only picked up a couple.
So it'll be second down. The ball resting at just past the 38-yard line. 8:45 left to go. Both teams, believe it or not, were 1-3 on the campaign. And Whitehall in the OCC Capital, exactly, and Reynoldsburg in the OCC Cardinal, each with 0-1 league marks. This, of course, is not a league matchup between the two. On second down, Washington will hand off. And look at Kisco inside the 35, spins, twirls, and is brought down around the 32-yard line. Among the Rams making the hit is number 72 again. We've called his name and number a lot, Mike McNeely.
Boy, if McNeely gets another year in the weight room, 255 pounds, he's an aggressive kid. You'll see Kiss takes a nice cut here, but McNeely has Kiss's number and comes back, closes down to the inside, and makes a good hit. You don't see too many 255-pounders playing defensive end in a 4-4. They usually are moved inside, but because of his quickness, they can do that with Mike McNeely. Neely.
And again, another one of the many juniors out there for both squads tonight. Third down at 7 with 7:48 left to go, third quarter. Washington on the long count will hand it off to Berry. Berry across the 30. Gets by the tackle of Warren at the 30-yard line and falls forward to the 28. But now you've got a fourth down situation if you're the Raiders. Fourth down, we'll call it either a long 2 or a short 3.
Well, I think you're in pretty good position score-wise that you might as well go for it. You're not going to try to kick a field goal. You're not going to punt it, so that kind of limits your options.
And checking into the game now is Mike Diani. He will come in as one of the tight ends.
You know, just 2 plays in a row, Washington showed his poise by Reynoldsburg, one of the receivers lined up on the wrong side at both the last 2 occasions. He was smart enough to wait, let his team get set, and then call the play.
And you know, he can run the football around the end. We haven't seen that yet. The handoff goes to big number 9. Yeah. He's not going to do it. He is hog-tied and brought down on the play. Lance Kirk made the hit on John Kiss.
Another junior at 263 pounds. Holy smokes.
Tackling a junior.
Don't want to play those Rams next year. You'll see it's nothing real fancy. And I think Coach Pusateri has decided that 35 is plenty, and he's not going to really try to get too much. But look at that effort by number 75. That was 263-pounder Lance Kirk.
Whose uncle Jim Bishop played baseball at Whitehall, and against Thomas Worthington, Lance Kirk had 4 tackles. So first and 10 for the Rams from their own 28-yard line. Handoff goes inside. Gales has it up across the 35. Rayshon fighting all the way out to the 41-yard line.
And Curry's back in there. Interesting thing, though, this time, number 37, Rashawn Gales was the fullback and got the football. Then when he's the tailback, he was to receive the football the play before. So I think that you're going to have to put him one place or another, or the defense is going to be able to key on number 37, Rashawn Gales.
And we have a timeout right now, as I believe Gales is attending to his left shoe down on the field. 6:46 left to go.
They untied the old string. Give the old double knot, Rashawn. Triple.
Extension of his fingers as you look at his numbers on the ground so far. Another interesting point here to consider is the fact that Reynoldsburg is Division I, but Whitehall is now Division III.
Sure.
So you have to wonder, Tom, realistically, if this series will continue, how does it benefit either squad? Whitehall playing up against a larger school and Reynoldsburg playing the smaller school.
Right, you're trying to beat the odds. Ooh, bobbled, I think it's loose.
Free, and the Raiders will come up with the football at the 42.5-yard line.
Yeah, the free safety came flying up there, I think. Picked it up, but once again, there was a little bit of I don't think the back ever received the handoff. And as a result, this is turnover number 3, I believe. All going against your hometown Rammers.
And it's first and 10 for the Raiders now from the Ram 43-yard line. We still have a Whitehall player down at the 40-yard line. That appears to be Rayshon Gales. So you talk about the offensive 1-2 punch and Ratliff and Gales. Ratliff already out of this contest with a concussion, and now Gales sitting down at the 40-yard line.
He's a senior. I'd like to see him have another year with these Rams once they, pound that weight room again.
Well, Tom, we touched on the fact that it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this series. It's a great neighborhood rivalry, but you just wonder if it's going to benefit either side. There you can see the miscues so far in this contest, and it's come back to haunt Whitehall.
You're right. I'd sure hate to play schools 2 divisions up for me. I mean, you may beat them, but it's going to be tough to do. You're bucking the odds. You're going to get some injuries. You're playing kids 2 ways compared to 1-way guys. And although Whitehall's had their share of success with their enrollment shrinking, it's just not feasible for them to continue to play the same type of teams that they've been playing.
Of course, I remember back to what we did in 1984, following the Rams all the way to the state championship game before they lost to the Big Red of Reno Sokoch and Steubenville in overtime. Still think of what happened there in the closing seconds. The touchdown pass to Jim Soma, the chance for the extra point to win it, but it was not to be. And in overtime, Big Red got a touchdown. The Rams got a field goal, and it was a loss for Jeff Jones and company at that time, all the way to the state championship.
Yeah, they beat us that year. I remember.
May we add that we did that game right here on Coaxial Sports. You want to talk about history and tradition. People come and people go, but Coaxial Sports, in their 15th year of bringing you high school football, I'm proud to say that I've been around for 14 of those 15. I took the first year off.
For bad behavior.
That's right. First and 10, and a whistle will stop play, and right at the beginning of that play, and now a flag is finally thrown in, as on the carry that time for Reynoldsburg was Sean McGrath.
All right, Sean McGrath, a sophomore, coming in the 3rd quarter. Yes,
and false start is the call on the offense with 6:23 left to go. Another thing that I was noticing this weekend, and it appears that, by the way this contest is going, we'll have plenty of time to talk about this later in the second half, but the computer rankings came out, the first ones, and to the novice, he would say, oh, okay, fine. Well, they're flawed. There are problems with the rankings this week on a couple of different levels, and I'll touch on that later in this contest.
I hope so, because we cannot stand flawed rankings.
Hate when that happens.
One thing that we don't want.
And that we don't like things hanging on the shower curtain rod either.
Of course, when it's only week 4, it doesn't matter as much as look.
That's right. McGrath again off the right-hand side. Yeah, he is just a sophomore.
I think there's a few young players or new faces in there. I see Chad Byers. He's one of the guards now.
And Hunter is in there as well. We talked about Sam Hunter and his play in special teams. Remember, he came down unmolested on one play and got the first hit on Ratliff on a kick return.
And this is a good display of sportsmanship on the Raiders' part, because they are substituting freely, getting some of these young kids who practice so hard in the ballgame.
And Deani is staying in as a tight end as well. Josh Crabtree is the wideout to the top of the formation. Second down at 10. This is Berry across the 40, the 35. Andy down to the 31-yard line, and you can move those sticks. He's got a first down with 5:35 left, third quarter.
Here comes that sweep again. Back to the left this time, and you'll see at the very tail end of this play, Charles Warren, who's played well, number 3 out of the secondary, come and try to tomahawk that ball out. He's taught well. Look at that, almost got it out, and it was a pretty good effort by Berry to hang on to it, but nice job as well by Warren trying to get that turnover back.
Tell you what, Tony Pusateri has done a great job with his team, and he really has made some outstanding adjustments with the Raiders here for week number 5, and I think this team has a chance to maybe take 6 straight. McGrath again, and he is going to be hog-tied and thrown back. Boy, you talked about the strength next year you want to see from McNeely. He looks pretty tough right now, big number 72.
Yes, he does. It was a high-low combination with McNeely along with, are you ready for this one? Sherrod. No. Sherrod. Look at Sherrod, low and tough. Hey.
Call him
sure?
Jeff.
Because when I talked to Jeff before,
just call him Jeff.
He's got the Red Sox, right?
Yeah.
And he's got to be cool then.
Jeff is a 3-year starter on defense, 2 years in the offensive line. So Sherrod is a guy that's been around. In fact, it's hard to believe that this guy was a starter on defense as a freshman.
Yes.
And well, adjustment is being made to one of the chin straps, one of the Raiders' helmets back in the 35-yard line.
You touched on the way that the Rams are going to have a lot of returnees. And actually, the Raiders seem to be a pretty veteran bunch, but I've heard all reports that the best 8th grade in Central Ohio is the Reynoldsburg Raiders.
And you're in tune to the middle school sports,
yes,
too.
I am.
You used to coach what, the 7th grade team at Groveport?
Well, 8th grade.
8th grade team. So that's how you know these things.
I did that, didn't I?
But you forget or what?
A blur. It's kind of a blur. I remember some of the...
All you can think of is Sherrod right now.
That's right. Sherrod.
Sonny and Sherrod. Second down and 8. 4:35 left to go, third quarter, 35-0. And this will be Kiss across the 25, the 20, scoots to the left and spins down inside the 15 all the way to the 13 and move the chains again.
Oh, about 10 yards before that, you thought you might hear a whistle, but nothing doing. Kiss says, I need my name in a paper too, and I'm going to run hard.
Coming into this contest, John had 9 carries for about 46 yards, and Kiss and Berry at wingback, Tom, are both juniors.
Nice block by Kevin Clark as Kiss keeps his balance there using his free hand. High step in it, back against the grain, getting some nice help from his offensive line. Knock, knock, knocking.
Patrick Luttrell, the quarterback for the Raiders, and the handoff goes inside to McGrath, but hey guys, guess what? There's a flag back here at the 17, so the point is moot, and we'll do it again.
It's coming back, the old motion call.
While you confirm that flag, I'll remind everybody of our stellar officiating crew here tonight. The referee is Larry Rood, the umpire is Mike Burbridge. The linesman is Ray Kirst. There's the procedural call against the Bird. Line judge Ned Harlow and the back judge Jim Gowdy. And look at that now, 311 to 57. It looks like when Tom and I go bowling. I know he's cheating when he's got 311 after one game.
1-6.
First down and 15 now from the 19 with 3:54 left to go. And trying to work his way outside is McGrath, and he's hog-tied by a couple of Rams among them. You got number 27, and that is Steve Miller, and Jeff Sherrod.
Sherrod, good job. McGrath, I think, liked the play before it a little better. That was opened up quite a bit differently than this one. There was no hole on that last play.
And another thing to remind you folks about is the parade coming up next week here in Whitehall to celebrate the 50th anniversary of this community.
Well, it would be a reminder because I'm sure everybody's marked that one down, Randy.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll have a chance to come out here and work that parade. It's always fun to do the parades out here. McGrath off the right-hand side will gain some yardage. And it's always great when you can work with Glenna Henson. She does such a great job on putting on the 4th of July parade, and she'll be working on this 50th anniversary parade. Playback times on October the 10th at 12 noon on Sunday the 12th. It's going to be on at the 3 to 4:30 slot, and on Tuesday the 14th it'll be on at 9 p.m. on Coaxial Channel 36, the 50th Whitehall Anniversary Parade.
You were just in high school then.
50 years ago?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Off the left side, they get it down to around the 15-yard line, and that's about it with 2:35 left to go.
Pinned by Steve Miller and his band. Speaking of bands, who's coming tomorrow?
I don't know, but I can't get no satisfaction when I want. I can't get any satisfaction. I hate that grammar that's all flawed like
I had my shirt from the last time they were in Cleveland, but it either shrunk while I was in the closet or something.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Because it just didn't fit.
I tell you the truth, but I don't want to be your beast of burden, okay? And if you start me up, I'll never stop. Here we go. 4th down and 11. Thank you very much. Let's see what happens here. They'll keep it on the ground. They hand it off inside to Kiss, who works his way outside on that counter play. Lost the ball. It goes into the end zone. Will they get a touchdown?
Oh, yeah.
How about that?
Well, let's give him credit. What the heck? He stayed with it, persevered, and
McGrath gets a touchdown.
McGrath, good.
As a running back, you like to get the touchdown, but normally it happens when you're given the handoff. It wasn't the situation here.
Chad Byers, number 51. Nice job on the lead block. And McGrath does the rest in a unique fashion, I might add.
41-0 as Dave Casper knocks it into the end zone. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the Raiders a few years ago. Chance now for the 42nd point off the toe of Travis Clark. Should I say he's perfect so far?
Might as well. Don't jinx him.
It was close, 42-0. Go back to that arts festival that they're having to celebrate the 50-year anniversary of the city of Whitehall on Friday. Coming up, they've got Arnett Howard and the Creole Funk Band on October the 3rd. Then on the 4th, the Parade of Antiquity and the dedication of Town Square. Music all day from noon until 10 p.m. as you saw the scoring drive. And you'll take a look now at the touchdown, just the way you draw it up. You let Kiss start the play and you let McGrath finish it off.
That goes to show you always hustle to the football. He who hustles the most gets the 6 points in this particular case. And after a nice block, McGrath is the beneficiary.
That was good to see because I haven't seen Australian rules football in several weeks. By the way, let's go back to what's going on. Then on Sunday the 5th, Youth in Art taking place from 1 to 6. So again, Arnett Howard and the Creole Funk Band October the 3rd from 6 to 10. This is at Whitehall-Yearling High School. Then the Parade of Antiquity, the dedication of Town Square on Saturday the 4th. Music all day from noon till 10 p.m. Sunday, Youth in Art from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. The Whitehall Community Arts Council putting this on, celebrating the 50th anniversary of this fine community. That's all coming up. Glenna Henson helping me with the parade. Again, I'll be working with Phil Allen, and you can see that right here on Coaxial Sports. A lot of fun to see all the fire and police equipment from days gone by as Warren scoops it up at the 14. Charles
he's got the
20.
corner.
Can he turn it? The 25, the 30, the afterburners at the 40-yard line, and knocked out of bounds with 1:45 left to go. Let's see where they mark him, around the 43 or 44-yard line.
There was finally we found a mistake of Reynoldsburg. They didn't contain the kickoff, and Charles Warren made him pay the price. I think it's Drew that's supposed to have that contain out there. Warren starts to the inside and says, well, I'm not getting much blocking here. I just think I'll go all the way around towards Tony Pusateri's crew. And there he does. He gets the corner. It's right by a couple Raiders.
Talk about Tony and what a job he's done. Really appreciate the fact that he left college football and came back here because I think he adds a lot to high school football in Central Ohio. Of course, he's running this program after 5 years as an assistant coach to Gary Blackney at Bowling Green, and of course before that 5 years at Westerville South, and before that 10 years at DeSales, and before that 2 years at Liberty Union. Mr. DeSales won a state title under Tony back in 1985. The handoff on first down goes to, looks like Gales off the left side up to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it.
Certainly brings a lot of experience. He's been to the big show, and when he was at Bowling Green, they really started to dominate the Mid-American Conference, and they're doing a pretty good job this year as well.
In his second year running the program, he is a young slim, diminutive, 46 years of age, and teaches biology at Reynoldsburg. Last year, you know, they were 4-6, but they were only outscored 188 to 173, and it's kind of the same thing in a microcosm in the first 4 weeks this year, in that they played very well in a number of games, but they come into this contest with a mark of only 1-3.
You're right, and after this week, they'll probably have more points and scored more points than they've given up.
That's exactly the case. It's going to be close because coming into this contest, they'd given up 57 and scored 56 points. Already they've got 42 on the board here with just under a minute left to go third quarter.
I think that was Gillespie carrying the ball, and on the play before, I was glad to see Rashawn Gales back in the lineup.
After the problem that he had with his leg, remember Ratliff already out of this contest with a concussion. I remember which kickoff it was now, too, on the return where he's hit high and low.
Yep, the old sandwich chart.
Yeah, bent back, and that's when the problem probably happened to Kewan Ratliff. Wide now to the bottom formation is Tyrone Fair. Third down, we'll call it just about 8 from the 46-yard line. Curry will pitch. Gales will try to turn the corner out across the 46 to the 47, and they pick up only 1 on the play.
Oh, I see a guy. They didn't really have a lead blocker on that particular play. It's very tough to run a sweep without a lead blocker.
Josh Diani comes up to make the hit as a linebacker, 6'6", 200 pounds, and he has made great strides as a basketball player at the post as well. Jerry Thornton,
hey,
get to work.
What's he up to? Is he injured? No. He was tired.
He's changing. He's putting on his pants.
What is he doing? Oh, man.
It's chilly down in the field. Well, Jerry, it's the end of the quarter. You take plenty of time, buddy.
That's right.
Rest up. After 3 quarters,
Take
it's
your shoes
42 to nothing. Reynoldsburg has substituted freely in this contest. A nice sign and a great job of coaching by Tony Pusateri. Patrick Luttrell back in at quarterback, 5'8", 165. And the handoff goes inside. Not much there for the Raiders. 11:47 left to go. Let's see if it's McGrath on the bottom of the pile. It is Sean on the carry one more time. I talked about the computer ratings. The situation is this, if I can explain this. You get first level points for the teams that you directly beat. Second level points for what the teams that you play against do in their contest. That's based on what would be 100 games then, right? You play your 10 and everybody else plays 10, all right? For some reason, the computer decided that the base would be 96. This particular week for
9.6 each, huh?
So it's actually off by a few thousandths. But the other problem that they had, as you see, the Raiders trying to turn the corner on the carry, and that is Kiss out to the 45-yard line, maybe the 46. They had a lot of problems with schools calling in incorrect scores or problems with schools not correctly reporting forfeitures. So if you go through the points, you're going to see pretty much the teams as they should be listed in the points when you look at the dispatch, for example, but not necessarily the correct total that they should have at this point in the season. But as you said, Tom, it's only week number 4, but that's something the OHSAA wants to see end here and now.
Sure, they'll iron that out. I can see problems calling in forfeitures because those are a little confusing, but how in the heck can anybody call in the wrong score? I'd deduct 10 points off any team that couldn't tell the OHSAA who the heck won the game.
The Ayatollah of sports, Tom McDonald. And on the keeper this time, Luttrell across midfield all the way down to the 47-yard line. Look out, Roger Staubach. He's got a first down with 10:23 left to go in this contest.
Nifty move on the naked boot, but you don't get by Charles. Charles Warren stayed home, and wow.
After 36 minutes, it is all Reynoldsburg, Tom, when you look at the stats.
2 first downs, and this is a pretty good offensive football squad, too. So the Raiders have been very effective on both sides of the pigskin.
Reynoldsburg looks larger on the field, too, do they not?
Yes, they do.
Physically, they look larger, although McNeely and those guys do pack some size. And they try to turn the corner here, and on the carry around the 40 all the way down to the 38-yard line is Ben Kalevsky.
Is that who it is?
It is indeed.
All right, Ben.
Ben is a sophomore, 5'6" and 150. Jerry Thornton finally got his pants on.
So we can show this on the replay. Here he is, a sophomore, heading for the corner. Breaks the tackle there and doesn't break that one.
The word is he liked the Raiders' pants, though, and he's going to try to see if he can snag some
camera action?
pants.
Yeah. Coming at you.
And they're going to measure along the near side of the field. So that's the situation with the computer points. But as you look in Division I, Region 3, Upper Arlington, Worthington, Kilbourne, Gahanna, and Hilliard-Davidson, 1, 2, 3, and 4 in Central Ohio, well represented in D1, Region 3. In Division 2, Region 7, Zanesville is on top as the sticks come across the measure.
They won't be after tonight. Those Tigers will get them.
Oh, boy. Watterson in 2nd and Brookhaven down in 6th. In Division 3, Region 10, DeSales in 2nd place behind Bell Fountain. Beechcroft is 6th. You saw the measurement, and you enjoying that popcorn here tonight.
Is there some?
It's our second bag that we've seen you go through here now. I treated the first round, and you treated the second round.
Thank you very much.
And moving on to Division 4, Region 15, Granville in 5th. Remember, the top 4 make the playoffs at the end of the season. It is short, you can see by the sticks. Division 5, Region 18, Pleasant on top. In Region 19, Amanda is in second. Centerburg, number 6. And we saw the Trojans earlier this season with that win over New Albany, getting that touchdown with 27 seconds left. What a drive that was.
Nothing fancy, nothing fancy, but they've been certainly effective in getting the important thing, the W in the win column.
They're 4-0. Coach Bruce Hodgkinson, second down and 1.5 inches with 10:07 left to go. Mark the ball at the 38-yard line. Corral will keep it and motor forward to near the 35, and that'll be a first down. Let's move on and finish up the computer points here. We talked about Division 5, Region 19, Region 20, Hartley in second place. And how about the Hawks of Dick Geyer? They've been very impressive, beating Newark Catholic at home at Hartley in overtime. Wes Jeff for the Rough Riders, Coach Metz in 4th place, and Reedy, Silver Knights, Coach Jim Caldwell in 5th place. Division 6 in Region 23, Ridgedale is number 5. That's where we stand, the 6 divisions with the area teams so far.
That sneak was from right behind Coy and Brandt, 2 new linemen. And for the Raiders,
Barry trying to turn the corner, the 35, Andy down to the 30 and brought down at the 30. Checked at the 28-yard line as the hit made on the play by the defensive end, Eric Gary. Gary tackles Barry.
Well,
it's rhyme time.
How about that? In with the play.
Down to 9:22 left to go. The Yanni brothers out there, and we talked about Josh. He'll be a great basketball player again this year for the Raiders. They could be loaded. Watch for them in basketball season. By the way, you can see it right here on Coaxial Sports as we begin our 15th season of high school basketball. And for me, it will be my 15th season here on Coaxial Sports. McGrath off the left side, stood up at the line of scrimmage, maybe gets down to the 27, and that's about it.
Pretty decent collision that time. Sherrod.
No, you had it the first time.
Sherrod. See, I was right.
Call him Jeff.
Jeff Red Sox Sherrod.
In the series, Tom, Reynoldsburg has won the last 2, and they've won 8 of the last 9. 6 of the last 12 meetings have been decided by 10 points or less. I will make a bold prediction, say that will not happen tonight.
Okay. Did you hear that, fellas?
3rd down and a short 2. Yeah, use that for bulletin board material, right?
That's right.
8:29 left to go.
No.
On the boot. Trell's going to keep it, and he will get it down past the sticks for another first down with 8:23 left to go. The Rams getting a little slower as they come up on defense. It's got to be tough in a situation like this. You're not a deep squad, and you're down by 42 points.
Nice fake of the sweep, and he kind of made it look like a pass for a little bit. It was a designed run all the way as Luttrell cuts it in for a nice pickup.
And, Tom, we're seeing a lot of sophomores out there for the Raiders now.
Yes, and that's a good sign because there are going to be some big holes to fill both sides of the football next season.
That is Hunter wide of the top of formation for the Raiders. 7:57 left to go. The handoff, they keep it inside, and McGrath on the carry again and spun down one more time by Gary. We're talking about the series, Tom. Last year we carried this game, and Reynoldsburg dominated that one 36-0. The game I remember, though, was 1985. It was right here. Whitehall got by Reynoldsburg 38-35 in triple overtime.
Oh, that's why the points were so high. Little 3 OT periods, huh?
I think that was Neiman and company for Reynoldsburg. I think Joe was the quarterback.
Yes, he had a good receiver.
Chris Urbanek?
Chris Urbanek.
Or was it Urbanski? I'm trying to remember now. I'm starting to fade with time.
Right
Urbanek,
7:17
left to go. I think Chris played some football for a while, too.
Just call
at
Chris.
Otterbein, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Well, the thing is, that was such a great game, and that was the first game for Whitehall after the state championship season.
That's true, and it's always, you know, you lose a lot of those kids. Here we come again. Low and tough, isolation play, nothing fancy, and you know, when this kid breaks a little bit of a crack, he can go a long way. McGrath, he's probably has about 12 carries now.
Yeah, we'll have to check the numbers on McGrath so far in this contest. Big number 36 has a number of carries already, and he'll get it again. He gets the call here on a 1st down and 10 from around the 11-yard line. Picks up maybe 1 on the play with 6:55 left to go.
You have to give him a carry on that one he fell in the end zone. What are you going to call it? You score a touchdown without a carry?
That's a fumble recovery.
Yes, you can. That's true. Hey, there's a future Ram, and I meant the littler, son. soon.
Although we had a female place kicker in the Whitehall program, Tina Radivojevic.
I think that was her name. I always called her Tina R.
Sharon.
Sharon.
Second down and 9 from the 10, 6:27 left to go. And this time on the carry, trying to turn the corner near the sidelines is Kolevsky, and Ben gets it down for a short gain on the plays. We're ticked out to 6:15 left to go.
There's no quitting a lot of those Rams. Let's give credit to the Ram defense for staying out there a long time, still hustling. McNeely was one of the Rams, and they are a tired crew.
You know, we talked about the fact that Whitehall not that large with their senior class with only 4 guys in the roster, but on the freshman level, they have 38 kids playing, Tom, 38 in 8th grade and 42 on the 7th grade level, so the numbers will be there.
Yeah, I think they're definitely, I know they're moving in the right direction. And this team is much improved, too. They'll hit you.
Trell keeping on a 3rd down play, trying to turn the corner, gets inside the 5, near the 2-yard line, near the sticks.
Ball is loose. What are they going to call here?
He was down.
Oh, is that what they're going to call?
Yep, they're going to say he was down before he lost possession.
Was that Step who
Brian
didn't lost it, was down a couple steps but closed the gap? You'll see. Luttrell thinks he's got a touchdown, and I thought he did too. Nothing doing. Oh.
Yeah, he looked like he was down. Step.
Yeah.
I remember had a brother, I think Jim, who played here at Whitehall High School. 4th down, and they need 1. Boy, if we have a 3rd quarterback score on a quarterback sneak, that would be something. There's a flag thrown into the fracas with 5:01 left.
What happened in the middle of that pile, do you think? Aiding and abetting the runner?
Helping runner.
No.
You know, at times tonight, I felt like rugby and Australian rules football have merged, and we'll see it here on this play.
Let's see if someone tries to help that. Yeah, the fullback was smashing up in there and kind of.
I couldn't tell from that angle, though, if he was right behind the quarterback or to the right of the quarterback.
Good point. He was back there somewhere, but usually you line up right behind him, and it looked like he went straight ahead, so that's going to bring it back 5 yards.
I'm trying to think in our 15 years in the 14 that I've worked, that is the first time we've had that call.
History in the making, and I think it's lost it down as well because I see a 4 over there.
It was 4th down and 1.
Okay, so what are you going to call here?
Oh, I just give it to the quarterback again instead of trying to get a 3rd quarterback to score.
We want the sneak.
Luttrell.
Yay.
And we'll keep it. Can he work it in? He's trying to get the 1st down. You know, you can't blame a kid like that for trying. If he wouldn't get 100%, you'd be upset.
Sure, that's tough, and I really think that there's a fine line between when do you substitute. I mean, these kids that are 1st string worked hard to get that way, and you almost have to give 3/4. But that was just a tremendous call.
And I want to recap something, too. Scott Gordon was in a situation like this earlier this season when they lost to Thomas Worthington 21-18, a tough game for them to lose, but they lost to Kilbourne, who was loaded 61-0. You said, you know, people can look at that from a number of different vantage points, but it's my job to stop them from scoring as the coach of the opposing team. So that's what you have to be concerned about. Don't worry about what they're doing. Try to correct things when the other team has the ball and work well defensively.
Right. That's what you have to say as they get 2 more
And there's
points.
a safety as Gales is tackled in the end zone. It is now 44-0 with 4:28 left to go, and Whitehall will have to do the free kick thing in just a moment.
Yeah, this is a new one for a lot of these kids. They probably haven't seen too many safeties this year. You'll see it's a little delayed draw, and then down near the own goal line, that's probably not a good idea. It looks like 1st string linebacker, number 87.
That's Bowman.
Bowman
was the
maybe
second
get
guy in there.
credit
Yeah.
for it.
I go back to, if you want to talk history again, one of the most interesting scores we ever had early in the season. We did a game, Academy at Hartley. Hartley was victorious. I don't know if Steve remembers this, but the final score was Hartley winning 31-4 over Academy. Academy got 2 safeties, both on punting situations.
Oh, that's
for the
how
Hawks.
they got 4, Randy.
31-4. Now they got a field goal, and then they got a point for bringing their own ball.
There you go.
But 31-4 was the count of that. I've never seen another team end up a contest in any level since then with 4 in high school football.
Holy smokes, listen to these bands getting pumped up. And did we have a halftime show or what?
We did. Brian Stevens and the Reynoldsburg Marching Band, and of course Jeff Harriman and Miranda Burke leading the way for the Whitehall-Yearling High School Marching Band.
Yeah, I think it's, I probably ought to put in that I think this may be the last time we see Reynoldsburg, and I just want to, let's see, how about those yards, huh?
Woof, that's about 7-1. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say that I want to thank once again for the final time Heather Buckley, that great baritonist for the Reynoldsburg band. I've enjoyed watching her throughout the years, and she did an exceptional job tonight as usual.
Is money exchanging hands here that I should get a part of, or what?
No, it's just my musical ear. My left one.
Okay, and the free kick will come from the 20-yard line, and it'll be scooped up on the play by Leslie Opie. Opie, who's seen some time as a defensive back, remember, because of Evans and Hayes, who they really haven't missed in this contest, not being able to start in the secondary. And Opie also plays as a wideout and caught that one long pass early in the contest on the near sidelines, and he'll get it out for good field position. And just like that, the Raiders get it back like they need it, up 44-0 with 4:20 left on the clock.
Good field position, but he really zigged and zagged back and ended up with only about a 3 or 4 yard return.
I've never asked this question, but I'll ask it now. Can you go 4 deep at quarterback on the high school level?
Well, not very well, I don't think, because of practice time. Usually your fourth and your third one are the guys that are probably be better job running the Ram offense, because those are the scout team quarterbacks during the week. But it's great that they get in there, because they take a beating, believe me, during practice on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Guess what? I think they're going 4 deep.
Good.
Yep. In at quarterback now, looks like Nick Whitney.
Oh.
And Mr. McNeely welcomes him to the neighborhood.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Nick Whitney is 5'9", 150, and a sophomore for Reynoldsburg.
We're going to get this one on the replay. Great. Oh, yeah. Hey, that's called going for the gullet, Randy, and that's perfectly legal.
Especially in baseball. Moving back to the 40-yard line. Second down and a bunch, nearly 15 yards. 3:48 left to go. It has been all Reynoldsburg in this contest. 44-0. They picked off a pass when the Rams had it in their first possession and took it down to the 14-yard line, drove it in from there, and have never looked back. On the carry again, we saw this guy in a couple of prior series. That has Ben Kalevsky. He is 5'6", 150, and a sophomore.
Kalevsky. And he's probably another one of those young men that has tried to duplicate the moves that maybe Gales could do, running the ball as a scout team tailback all week. And now he's getting his chance on Friday night.
Excluding you, 12 Raiders have carried the ball in this contest.
Yes.
We might suit you up before this is over. Well, if Jerry can spare the clothing down there along the sidelines.
Well, McNeely's out now, so I guess I wouldn't mind doing it.
What size do you pack there? More than you'd like, right?
It wouldn't be at the old split end, that's for sure.
Third down, and we'll call it 9 from the 46, 2:48 left to go. The handoff goes to McGrath inside, and he will get up to around the 48-yard line, and that'll do it for the Raiders. It's a punting situation with 2:37 left to go.
Jimmy Lyons on the hit. You know, they don't have probably a third or fourth punt team, so it's a good idea to punt, but they just might go for it.
You could be correct with the ball at the 48-yard line and just try to keep it on the ground. And
I know at Groport we used our defense as our punt team.
What do you do right now for Tony Pusateri? Is it a point of emphasis if you give the ball back at midfield to keep the Rams off the scoreboard?
It's always nice, but the number one thing at this stage in the game is to do what he's doing, and that's getting some new faces in that lineup.
Berry across midfield, down to the 45, and it's going to be close at the sticks.
Boy,
on the far side with 2:01 left to go.
But I say very simply, yikes, that's going to be close. It was going to be ain't no way, so I got to stick with ain't no way. But boy, they got a great spot. Yeah, what's going on with these? How can you give a good spot with a 44-0? You'll see there.
Gary made the tackle.
Out even.
Yep. So Eric Gary make the hit on the play, and they'll bring out the chains, and they'll measure, and guess what? They got a first down by half the length of a football.
Yes.
So it's 1st and 10 for Reynoldsburg with 2:01 left to go. They will advance to 2-3 on the season, and for that team, well, it's a time to regroup.
2-3. They are a much better football team than 2-3.
Jared Bishop warming up his arm. He's one of the backup quarterbacks. Actually, Kewan Ratliff would be the second string quarterback, but you know he's gone from contest. And that guy
still staying with it, isn't he, Randy?
You got to feel for him because he's done a great job with this program, and you can't rebuild something overnight.
Well, by the end of this year and definitely into next year, he'll get his chance to name the score on a few people. And the type of classy guy he is, I'm sure he'll do the same thing tonight.
Whitney on the keeper to the 30, to the 25, to the 20.
Yeah.
He can smell it. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Whitney. 1:28 left to go. And as add 6 more. It is 50-0. Nick Whitney takes it across. He is, what, the 4th or the 3rd quarterback to score in this contest for Reynoldsburg.
And look at, they're happy to see their buddy Whitney get in the end zone. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if that was out of fear or what. He was being chased by 3 Ram defenders. He's taking the ball with him. Oh, he's taking his flak jacket.
Yeah.
Yes. He says, hey, I don't need this anymore. I'm a superstar.
It's got to be a great thrill for that young man to score on the varsity level as a sophomore.
I don't think he'd even dreamed it.
Clark trying to stay perfect on the night. And he pulls what we call a McDonald. He stays perfect. 51-0 our count now with 1:28 left to go in this contest.
Well, that touchdown wasn't by design. It just took a super effort by Whitney. 45 yards to pay dirt.
A lot of 5s up there. 5 plays, 55 yards, and a 45-yard run, and 51 zip. Raiders on top. Well, we talked about the scores for Whitehall. We got through game 2. Week number 3, a big win. Bexley came in.
Right.
They were undefeated, and the Rams won that contest 19-17. But last week they lost to Watkins 35-28. Here he is, world-class speed,
And
taking around the corner.
Did you see him
Nick
take
Whitney.
a little glance there?
Yep.
And these are some fast kids he's outrunning.
Oh, he is. And the thing is, you got to smell it right here at the 20-yard line.
Or what? Yes, indeed.
Well, you've got the situation at quarterback where you've got Drew as the senior as he dives and breaks the plane and hits the pylon. You got Washington as a junior, and you got the 2 guys that we've seen tonight as sophomores in Luttrell and the guy that just scored in Nick Whitney.
You talked about that great victory that the Rams had this year over Bexley. That was talked about in Central Ohio as maybe the biggest upset of the whole week.
That was huge in week number 3 because the Lions came in 2-0 and hungry for a 3-0 start. And something that Bexley has not been known for. I mean, they've had some great backs down through the years like Johnson and Range, but it's been a while since they've had a great start to a season. Gale starts out from around the 12-yard line. Rayshawn up across the 30, and hats off to him. A tribute to his competitive nature that he stays in there and takes it across the 35-yard line.
Well spoken.
And let's see if somebody else gets a chance at quarterback now for the Rams. You're down 51 zip. Ratliff is out. He's injured. Your 2nd string quarterback has a concussion. A situation like that, the clearance, when do you think Kiwan could be back? Could he come back next week?
I would think so. I'm almost certain he can. Which one of them's the quarterback? Is it Eugene Robinson or Sean McNally?
Maybe if it's number 15, it would be Jared Bishop. We'll
That's
find
who
out.
it quite possibly
We saw him warming up a little earlier, and Bishop will have the honors. Bishop 5'9", 155, and a sophomore for the Whitehall-Yearling Rams. 1:21 left to go. Wow. He was fodder.
Marty Nelson's in the line, 300-some pounds.
Let's talk about Marty real fast. Marty's
Yeah.
a 2-year starter, big number 78 for the Rams, 6'2", 371 pounds, and he's quite a story.
He's on the left side of the line. He does a nice job closing down his blocking. Unfortunately, I don't know what the heck was going on. I think the back went the wrong way.
Nelson holds the American record for his weight class for bench pressing. For his age group, he can bench press 405 pounds.
Yeah.
He grew 2 inches in the last year and about 40 pounds.
It's you and me together, 405 pounds. Oh,
and
nice
that
step.
time on the carry, trying to take it around the far side of the field is Brian Stepp, and he is brought down right around the 27-yard line.
Yeah, that was the sweep. That didn't go too far.
Been a tough night for the Rams.
Yes, it has been.
One thing that Coach Gordon has
Draft
really followed with his team up on is composure. No matter what, go out there and try hard and give 100%, whether you're up by 50 or down by 50. Try to have the same attitude out there, and you can see the Rams holding their composure out on the field and on the bench right now. It's a handoff on 3rd down. Gains very little on the play. Could be David Farrow on the carry.
That should do it.
Farrow on the carry on the last play of this contest, and Reynoldsburg from the get-go controls this contest. They improved to 2-3 on the season. That'll do it for week number 5. Our final score, Reynoldsburg 51, Whitehall nothing. We'll wrap it up from Whitehall-Yearling High School right after this here on Coaxial Sports. Stay tuned.